Hello everyone, thank you for returning to the channel today. I'm very happy to continue sharing with you an emotional story about LyTuDiep and CEO James, a journey filled with both sweetness and challenges. In the previous episode, after many months of waiting, James and Diep finally completed the legal process to adopt little Nee. The moment the three of them held hands and walked out of the legal office marked the beginning of something new, a true family, complete with love and connection. Not only that, their joy doubled when Diep discovered she was pregnant with their first biological child. The news made James burst with happiness, while little Nee first looked puzzled and then smiled brightly at the thought of becoming a big sister. What seemed like a complete home now became even more fulfilled. Yet happiness always walks alongside challenges. As Diep entered the early stages of pregnancy, her body began to change drastically. She felt tired, constantly nauseous, and sometimes so exhausted that she needed to be hospitalized for observation. Watching her struggle, James felt both distressed and deeply worried. He put aside much of his company work to stay by her side day and night, holding her hand, encouraging her through every meal and every night's rest. However, as a CEO, James could not neglect his business for too long. There were days when he hurriedly signed contracts at the office and then rushed straight to the hospital just to make it in time to watch his wife finish a bowl of hot porridge. He always tried to balance career and family, but deep in his heart, Diep and the children remained his greatest priority. As for little Nee, once a child who had lacked affection, she suddenly found herself with both a father and a mother, and soon a sibling. At first, she worried that her mother might be too busy caring for the new baby and forget about her. But James and Diep never stopped comforting her, reassuring her that their love for her would never change. James's tight embrace and Diep's gentle kiss were promises both simple and profound. So what lies ahead? Will Diep have the strength to overcome the hardships of pregnancy? What further sacrifices will James make to shoulder both the role of businessman and the role of husband and father? And how will little Nee learn to open her heart and welcome the baby about to be born? All of this will be revealed in today's video. Please stay with us until the end to fully experience the emotions, the joy, the worries, and above all, the overflowing love within this little family. After more than 3 months of pregnancy, Diep's health gradually began to stabilize. The severe morning sickness that once left her drained, sometimes bedridden for days, now came only in passing waves. Even so, she remained cautious in everything she did. No longer daring to push herself with heavy tasks as before, she chose lighter chores, enough to keep herself busy, and enough to help her maintain an optimistic spirit. Deep inside, the thought "as long as I can do something for my child" was always her strongest motivation. Every afternoon, when the late sunlight softened, Diep and little Nee set up a small stall by the village road to sell papaya salad. An old wooden table, treasured by the family for years, was wiped clean and covered with a neat cloth. On it lay neat rows of golden shreds of papaya mixed with bright red carrots, fresh green herbs, and jars of crispy roasted peanuts. A bowl of sweet and sour fish sauce gave off a gentle fragrance that lingered in the breeze, making passers-by turn their heads. That simple scene painted a peaceful picture amid the familiar rhythm of rural life. Though still young, Nee was quick and lively. She helped her mother hand out bowls, arrange chopsticks, and often chattered away cheerfully, showing no shyness toward strangers. Her clear, ringing voice carried across the roadside. "Auntie, please try some papaya salad. It's really delicious." Her innocence and bright smile drew many people to stop. Some bought a bowl, nodded in approval after tasting, then returned to purchase more for their families. Others stopped just to compliment the little girl, as if to encourage her politeness and rare confidence for a child so young. Neighbors who had long known Diep couldn't hide their admiration as they passed by. While enjoying the salad, they exclaimed, Nee is such a good girl, so little, yet already helping her mother like this. That's precious. Then their eyes turned to Diep, filled with warmth and affection. You're truly remarkable, Diep. Pregnant, yet still working so hard. Every mother loves her child, but not everyone has your strength and resilience. Diep only smiled in reply, her eyes glistening with a gentle light. Her hand rested softly on her belly, as if whispering to the little life within. In her heart echoed a simple conviction: every effort she made today was worth it, for Nee's bright smile, and for the health of the child still taking shape inside her. Life might hold many hardships ahead, but as long as this family stayed close, bound by love, no obstacle could ever bring her down. The sudden ringing of the phone broke the quiet of the late afternoon. In the small, modest house, the sound felt like a signal that something important was about to arrive. Diep quickly wiped her damp hands on the small cloth hanging nearby and hurried to pick up the receiver. On the other end, James's voice came through, still as deep and warm as always, but this time carrying an unmistakable excitement, a joy overflowing in every word he spoke. Diep, I have wonderful news for you. The adoption papers for little Nee are officially complete. Starting tomorrow, she'll be able to go to school. And the best part, under the new policy, all of her tuition will be completely waived. Our daughter will have everything she needs for her education, without any worries. Diep froze. The hand holding the phone trembled slightly, her eyes blinking rapidly as if to confirm she had heard correctly. All the anxious days, the sleepless nights, the endless waiting, suddenly they dissolved, replaced by a flood of happiness. She could hear her heart pounding hard in her chest, reminding her that this was no longer a dream but reality. The burdens that once weighed so heavily on her shoulders now felt astonishingly light. She turned her gaze toward little Nee, who was busily stacking bowls on the table. The child's hair was a little messy, strands falling across her forehead, her innocent face glowing in the golden light streaming through the window. In that instant, Diep realized every sacrifice, every drop of sweat, every worry she had carried was worth it, all for this child's smile and future. She rushed over, pulled the girl into her arms, and held her tightly, as if letting go would cause the happiness to vanish. Her voice shook with emotion, tender yet filled with love. My darling, listen to me. Tomorrow you'll go to class. You'll have teachers to guide you, friends to play with, and new lessons to explore. From now on, you truly have a bright future ahead. You'll no longer be lonely, no longer left behind. Little Nee lifted her round face, her clear eyes sparkling with joy. She didn't answer in words. Instead, she suddenly burst into laughter, a bright, ringing sound that filled the small house, spilled out onto the porch, and drifted with the breeze like a song of happiness. She wrapped her tiny arms around her mother's neck, hugging her tightly, as if to say 1,000 words of gratitude without speaking at all. It was the purest, most innocent embrace, yet it carried such deep emotion and trust, that from this day on, she would never feel lost in the world again. Diep buried her face in the child's hair, breathing in the scent of sunshine, wood smoke, and the sweet fragrance of childhood. Tears welled up and fell onto Nee's soft hair, but they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of joy, of gratitude, of unshakable faith. In that moment, Diep whispered silently to herself, the road ahead might still hold hardships, but as long as she could see her child's innocent smile today, she knew she would always have the strength to overcome anything. That afternoon, while Diep and little Nee were still busy with their papaya salad stall at the market, the small house felt unusually quiet. The evening breeze drifted through the window, carrying the scent of straw and the distant calls of birds returning to their nests. Just then, Mr. Tuan, the longtime village teacher, appeared at the gate. In his hand was a worn leather briefcase, inside it the important documents that James and Diep's family had been waiting for. The moment James heard his voice, he hurried out to greet him, respectfully inviting the teacher into the living room. On the familiar wooden table, he had already prepared a pot of hot tea, its gentle fragrance filling the space. The two men sat facing each other, the golden rays of sunset streaming through the wooden lattice, casting a calm yet dignified glow on their faces. Without delay, Mr. Tuan opened the briefcase, carefully taking out the files and turning each page. He began filling in the necessary information for little Nee, her full name, date of birth, family background, and current situation. His voice was steady, asking questions as he wrote, each stroke of his pen neat and precise. James sat beside him, answering clearly and attentively, providing every detail without leaving anything out. His eyes revealed both seriousness and a quiet happiness rising within him. For James, this moment was far more than a simple formality. It marked a turning point, proof that Nee now truly had a family, a firm foundation to grow up with. Those documents were not just ink on paper, they were the very cornerstone of the child's future. Once all the details were recorded, Mr. Tuan signed his name and neatly closed the file. Looking up with a gentle smile, his voice rang with assurance. Tomorrow, little Nee will officially become a student at the village kindergarten. Rest assured, the school and teachers will take good care of her and help her settle in quickly. A sweet, well-behaved child like her will surely be loved by both classmates and teachers. James nodded softly, pouring another cup of tea for the teacher. A quiet joy welled up inside him, a mix of relief and confidence in the days to come. He pictured the moment when Diep and Nee would return home, and he could share the news with them. Diep would surely be moved to tears, while Nee would squeal with delight. Just imagining that scene warmed his heart, filling him with hope for the bright future slowly unfolding before their eyes. The next morning, Diep decided to take little Nee to the town market to prepare for her special day. At dawn, mother and daughter woke early, made a simple breakfast, then walked hand in hand to the bus stop. The road leading into town seemed livelier than usual. Shops stood side by side, the streets were crowded, vendors' voices rang out from every corner, blending with the aromas of sticky rice, fried cakes, and roasted corn, creating a bustling yet warm atmosphere. Amid it all, Diep held Nee's hand tightly, reminding her to be careful, while her own eyes scanned the stalls, choosing carefully each item her daughter would need for her first day of school. Their first stop was a large stall selling children's backpacks. Nee's eyes widened at the sight of countless bags in every color neatly hanging on the shelves: sky blue, lemon yellow, bright red, pale lavender. She stood still for a moment, her small fingers brushing each one as if she couldn't decide. At last, her gaze stopped at a pretty pink backpack embroidered with a smiling kitten. Her eyes lit up as she whispered excitedly, "Mom, I like this one. Can I take it to school?" Diep looked at her and laughed softly. She nodded, and immediately Nee hugged the backpack tightly to her chest, as though afraid someone might take it away. Her eyes sparkled like stars in the night sky, her innocent smile blooming across her round face, warming Diep's heart. They didn't stop there. Diep also chose a few new outfits for her daughter, soft cotton dresses in cheerful colors, along with simple uniforms for class. She bought Nee a tiny pair of red sandals with secure straps and soft soles, perfect for her small feet. Nee sat down, carefully slipped them on, twirled around a few times, and laughed with delight. She kept admiring them as if she had never owned anything so precious. Once the shopping was done, the two continued wandering through the market until they reached the play area. Spotting a busy stall where children were painting figurines, Nee tugged at her mother's hand and pleaded, "Mom, let me paint one, please. I want to bring it as a gift for class tomorrow." Smiling, Diep agreed. Nee immediately chose a small white rabbit figurine and sat down. Her eyes focused on the palette before dipping the brush carefully. Her little face turned serious as she painted each stroke with care. Every now and then, she chirped excitedly to her mother. "Tomorrow I'll show this rabbit to my friends, Mom. I'll tell them you took me to the market to buy it." Diep sat quietly beside her, watching every gesture. In that moment, she felt a simple yet overwhelming happiness. The hardships of past months, the worries that never seemed to end, all of it was softened by Nee's pure smile and innocent joy. Her daughter's bright eyes and eager voice made Diep's heart swell as though it might burst. She knew well that the road ahead would still hold many challenges. But seeing Nee's excitement today, watching her childhood slowly become more complete, gave Diep the strength to keep moving forward. The love and faith within her were no longer fleeting feelings, they had become a steady flame, lighting the long journey ahead for the three of them. That late afternoon, the sky slowly shifted into shades of golden orange as the sun set. Rays of light filtered through the bamboo groves, casting long shadows across the brickyard in front of the house. James returned from work, his posture still carrying a trace of weariness after a long day at the company. Yet, the moment he pushed open the wooden gate, the scene before him instantly filled his heart with new life. Diep and little Nee were coming back from the town market, their arms full of baskets and bags. The cheerful laughter of mother and daughter echoed along the narrow path, mingling with their light footsteps. Inside the baskets were a brand new pink backpack, tiny red sandals, and neatly folded clothes, glowing in the sunset, proof of a day brimming with excitement and preparations for a new beginning. James hurried forward at once. He opened his arms wide, took the baskets from Diep's hands, then bent down to gather both mother and daughter into his embrace. The three of them burst out laughing together, the sound filling the yard and sweeping away every trace of fatigue. In that moment, joy overflowed, and family love became the warm thread binding them more tightly than ever. James leaned down, pressing a kiss onto Nee's soft hair, still carrying the scent of sunlight. His voice rang with delight and pride. "Tomorrow, Daddy's little princess will officially start school. Don't worry, I'll take you there myself, you won't have to be nervous at all." At those words, Nee's round eyes sparkled like stars. She laughed brightly, wrapped her tiny arms around her father's neck, and chirped like a little bird. "Daddy, remember to take lots of pictures of me. I want to show all my friends that Mommy and Daddy brought me to school." James held her even tighter, his heart overflowing with happiness. He could feel her small heartbeat racing against his chest, blending with her innocent joy. Standing nearby, Diep watched father and daughter wrapped in each other's arms, her heart swelling with emotion. The burdens and worries that once weighed heavily on her seemed to be carried away by the evening breeze, leaving only peace and deep gratitude behind. As the last rays of daylight embraced them, the three stood closely together in the little yard. That simple happiness spread through the quiet home, Diep's gentle smile, Nee's shining eyes, and James's hearty laughter merging into one radiant picture of family life. It was a picture so warm and vivid that anyone passing by would surely pause, smile softly, and feel the love overflowing from within. While James's family was overflowing with joy as they prepared for little Nee's first day of school, back at the company he faced an unexpected situation. After the final meeting of the day, when everyone else had already left, Lynn, a young employee and also James's trusted assistant, hesitantly knocked on his office door. James looked up and immediately noticed the unusual tension on her face. He set his pen down and motioned for her to come in. Lynn stepped forward, her hands trembling as she clasped them together, her eyes full of worry. After a long pause, she finally poured out her troubles. Her voice quivered, breaking now and then. "Sir, my younger brother has gotten himself into debt. He was naive, followed the wrong crowd, borrowed money from loan sharks, and now they're demanding immediate repayment. My family has tried everything, but it's still not enough. I honestly don't know who else to turn to but you." James remained silent, listening intently. He knew Lynn as a diligent employee, someone who had devoted years of effort to the company. Her story was not something he could dismiss as fabrication. After a moment of thought, he rose from his chair and walked to the window. The city lights shone in, casting a pensive shadow across his face. After a few minutes, he turned back, his eyes steady yet filled with compassion. "I'll help you. Here is 100 million. 50 million will be considered a reward for your dedication to the company. The remaining 50 million, you can pay it back gradually, no need to rush." Lynn froze, her eyes widening before tears quickly blurred her vision. She hadn't expected her boss to be so willing to help. But James wasn't finished. Sitting back down, he met her gaze, his voice lowering, tinged with firmness. "I'm helping you because I trust you. But remember this, out there are plenty of people looking to take advantage, to siphon away from our projects and our work. This is the time you need to be more vigilant than ever. Stand firm, and don't let anyone with bad intentions find their way in. As long as you're steady, the company will remain steady." Bowing her head, Lynn's voice shook with emotion. "Thank you so much, sir. I promise I won't let you down." Tears streamed down her cheeks, not only from the worry she bore for her brother, but also from a deep gratitude toward the boss who cared not just about the work, but also about his people, extending a helping hand in their darkest hour. James ended the long day with a flood of emotions. At the company, he had faced unexpected troubles and carried the heavy weight of leadership. Yet the moment he stepped through the familiar wooden gate and saw Diep and little Nee excitedly preparing for her very first school day, all his fatigue seemed to melt away. Inside the small home, the warm glow of a yellow lamp filled the room as the three gathered together. A brand new pink backpack rested neatly on the table, tiny red sandals shone after being carefully cleaned, and the painted rabbit figurine sat in Nee's hands like a treasured jewel. Diep sat sewing a button back onto her daughter's shirt, while James watched quietly, smiling to himself. Nee ran back and forth, chattering nonstop about all the things she would tell her friends tomorrow. In that moment, James realized, no matter how fierce the storms outside might be, here, in the arms of his family, was the safest harbor. Happiness did not always come from grand things. It was simply seeing the smiles of those you love, holding hands as you walked together through each passing day. But will this joy last forever? Tomorrow, Nee will officially step into her very first classroom, beginning a brand new chapter of her life. As for James, can he balance the weight of his work with the role of husband and father? And what challenges still lie ahead for this little family? Stay tuned for the next episode to experience the unexpected turns, yet also the love and tenderness that fill their story.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình tiếp tục đưa đến với mọi người câu chuyện của LyTuDiep và CEO James nha mọi người. Mọi người thân mến, thì như mọi người cũng đã biết, James và Diệp thì hiện tại là đang ở bên nhau và họ đã nhận Nhi làm con nuôi. Tuy nhiên thì họ có một cái vấn đề, đó là hiện tại thì Diệp đang có bầu con riêng của hai người. Vậy thì liệu tình tiết tiếp theo sẽ diễn ra như thế nào, và liệu Diệp có vì con riêng mà sẽ đối xử khác đi với bé Nhi hay không, và liệu rằng James và Diệp có dành trọn tình yêu cho bé Nhi sau khi mà đã có con riêng của mình hay không. Và hôm nay thì bé Nhi thì sẽ sắp tới được đi học, và Diệp đã dẫn cô bé đi để mua rất là nhiều đồ đạc, cũng như là dành rất nhiều tình thương, và cả ba người ở với nhau như một gia đình hạnh phúc. Vậy thì liệu tình tiết tiếp theo sẽ diễn ra như thế nào? Mời mọi người đón xem ở tập sau nha.